Chapter 21, Echoes of Myth and Fury. March 10, 1935 Europan calendar. Imperial Palace, Schwarzgrad, capital of the East Europan Imperial Alliance. Europa continent ****. The war room of the Imperial Palace brooded under the weight of stalled conquest, its obsidian table scarred by frantic gouges from previous rages, now cluttered with crumpled dispatches and blood-stained maps. Rank night chandeliers cast a cold, unwavering azure glow, illuminating tapestries of ancient Valkyria triumphs, legends of blue-flamed warriors raising armies in divine wrath. Outside, the spires of Schwarzgrad pierced a storm-lashed sky, while in the shadowed depths below, dark-skinned laborers toiled under whips, forging more panzers to feed the insatiable maw of war. The air reeked of stale incense and desperation, the distant clamor of forges a grim underscore to the Empire's unraveling ambitions. Emperor Adolfo Gaius von Regenrave presided at the table's head, his regal form rigid as forged steel, gloved hands gripping the arms of his throne-like chair. His flowing blonde locks were slicked impeccably, mustache trimmed to elegant points, onyx eyes smoldering with barely contained fury. Flanking him were the remnants of his inner circle, General Heinrich Stahl, his burly frame hunched over reports, scarred jaw twitching, Admiral Erich Lang, scars from Alaska a livid reminder of survival, his crutch propped nearby, Colonel Victor Krauss, spectacles perched on his nose as he sifted intercepts, and Minister Ilara Voss, her elegant fingers drumming a propaganda draft, silk poise masking growing unease. Crown Prince Maximilian was absent, commanding the galleon thrust, but his dispatches echoed in the room like distant thunder. The heavy doors creaked open, admitting a mud-caked sergeant, eyes hollow, uniform torn, bearing the stink of frontline defeat. He saluted stiffly, voice hoarse from screams and smoke. "Your Excellency, reports from the Ardennes Plains. The Federation front, it's frozen. Our legions advance no further." Von Regenrave's gaze pierced him like a bayonet. "Speak plainly, soldier. The Valkyr awakening was to sweep them aside, yet you bring tales of stagnation?" The sergeant swallowed, unrolling a sheaf of frantic scribbles. "The assaults began as planned, conscripts overwhelming their trenches, panzers shattering bunkers. But their lines, they bend but do not break. American sorcery everywhere, rifles that fire endless storms, punching through our plates at impossible ranges. And the machines, rolling fortresses with spinning lasers, cutting down platoons like wheat. Demons that vanish and reappear, claws rending men apart." Stahl snorted, massive fists clenching. "Exaggerations! Federation tricks, smoke and mirrors to mask their cowardice. Our panzers would crush such toys." But the sergeant's voice trembled as he continued. "No, General, worse. Their warriors wear armors like walking citadels, colossal suits that turn men into tanks. One of our heaviest panzers targeted a lone knight in silver and green plate. The 180mm shell struck true, dead center, a blast that should have vaporized him. Smoke cleared, and he stood unharmed, not a dent. He charged then, guns blazing, shredding our escorts like paper." Silence gripped the room, thick as fog. Von Regenrave leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "You claim an armor impervious to our mightiest guns? A man transformed into an unkillable behemoth?" Krauss nodded, voice analytical but edged with unease. "Impossible. Our cannons level fortresses. How could flesh and steel endure? Perhaps defective ammunition, or illusionary decoys." Voss's elegant features paled, her propaganda weave fraying. "The people whisper of void-born horrors, but this? It defies reason. A soldier as a tank? We need legions of them to match." Lang, scars twitching, slammed his fist. "I've seen their ships devour fleets, now this? If true, our infantry charges into slaughter. The Alaska ghosts walk the land now." The sergeant pressed on, voice dropping to a whisper. "And the blasts, many final flames erupting like Valkyria legends. Final bursts swallowing battalions whole, blue infernos vaporizing panzers in flashes brighter than the sun. Tanks melted to slag, crews gone in instants. Reports stack, mini final flames reborn, but without the sacred glow, cold, mechanical apocalypse. Disbelief rippled through the council. Stahl barked a laugh, though it rang hollow. Bah! Valkyria myths twisted by fear. The final flame is legend, ancient tales of divine sacrifice, not some Federation parlor trick. They're bluffing with explosives, amplified by propaganda. Voss nodded vigorously, clutching her draft. Exactly, exaggerated reports to demoralize our troops. The Church's scrolls speak of final flame as a Valkyria's ultimate gift, a pyre of Rang Knight overload. Most dismiss it as fable. We'll counter with our own narratives. But Kraus paled further, exchanging a glance with Lang. Both had liaised with Salvaria Bless, witnessing glimpses of her restrained power. Wait, the patterns match. Blue infernos, instantaneous devastation, like the final flame, but replicated. Improved, even portable, without the sacrifice. These Americans, they've harnessed what we thought divine through means unknown to us, perhaps some profane alchemy beyond Rang Knight. Lang's voice cracked, rare vulnerability surfacing. By the ancients, we've poked a nest of gods. Their machines endure our fury, their blasts echo our legends. The front stagnates, casualties mounting, supplies bleeding dry. We're outmatched. Astonishment morphed to fear. Stahl's burly frame slumped, eyes wide with dawning horror. Voss's silk poise shattered, hands trembling. Kraus shrank into his chair, intellect overwhelmed. Even the Emperor's predatory calm fractured, fury boiling beneath. They, the Empire's iron elite, realized the truth. In challenging the void, they'd awakened something beyond their league, a foe wielding myths as weapons. Von Regenrave surged to his feet, throne toppling with a crash. Stagnation? After our blood and steel? This abomination mocks us. His voice thundered, veins bulging. The path forward is clear, seize Gallia at all costs. Their Rang Knight reserves, the largest on the continent, will fuel an army twice our size. Pour every vein into new panzers, fresh legions. Break the Federation's spine with overwhelming might, but only if Maximilian succeeds in the north. Double the supplies to Dresden, no retreat, no mercy. The council scattered to orders, fear etching their faces, arrogance cracked, the void's shadow lengthening over their divine right. Yet the Emperor's blonde mane gleamed under the lights, his resolve a brittle shield against the encroaching unknown. End of chapter 21. From this point forward, the narrative shifts to the Gallian front, where the Imperial Alliance's northern thrust unfolds with relentless fury. The theater of war in Gallia, neutral yet strategically vital, nestled between Federation territories and Imperial heartlands, will play out in its own rhythm, a crucible of heroism and tragedy. Once this arc concludes, we shall return to the stagnated Federal front, where American ingenuity and Federation resolve hold the line against the Empire's unyielding pressure. Chapter 22, Gallia Awakens. March 15, 1935 Europan calendar. Brühl, Principality of Gallia. Europa continent. The quaint town of Brühl nestled along Gallia's eastern border like a forgotten idol, its windmills turning lazily against a backdrop of rolling hills and blooming meadows. Wooden homes with thatched roofs lined cobblestone streets, the air scented with fresh baked bread from the local bakery and the faint tang of river mist from the nearby stream. Yet peace hung by a thread. Rumors of imperial mobilization had trickled in via radio broadcasts, stirring the town watch into frantic preparations. Evacuation orders hummed through the town, women bundling children onto wagons, men shouldering belongings as they boarded trucks bound for the capital, Randgriz. Welken Gunther, a young naturalist with a gentle demeanor and an inquisitive mind, stood on the outskirts, his field notebook tucked under his arm. At 22, with tousled brown hair and wide, thoughtful eyes, he had returned from university to visit his family amid the growing tensions. His adoptive sister, Isara Gunther, a brilliant 15-year-old dark-skinned mechanic with dark hair braided in traditional style, her blue eyes sharp with determination, had urged him home, sensing the storm brewing. As he walked along the road near the river, Welkin paused beside a small creek and knelt down. He began calmly sketching a school of fish swimming in the clear water, completely focused on his drawing. Alicia Melchiot, a 19-year-old baker's apprentice serving as a town watch member, her long brown hair tied back under a beret and brown eyes fierce with duty, spotted him from the road. Clad in the simple uniform of the town watch, a blue jacket and skirt with a white armband, she gripped her rifle tightly. Flanked by other watch members and a detachment of American advisors, tall figures in advanced combat fatigues, ballistic helmets, and carrying our 91 assault rifles with under-barrel grenade launchers, Alicia raised her weapon. "Halt! Hands up!" Alicia commanded sharply, aiming her rifle directly at Welkin. "What are you doing there drawing by the river? Sketching maps for the Empire? You're under arrest for spying." Welkin froze, hands raised in shock. "Wait. I'm just sketching fish, a local. I grew up here." Alicia's eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Fish? During an evacuation? Hands behind your head, on the ground. Cuff him." A watch member snapped restraints on Welkin's wrists, the cold metal biting into his skin. At that moment, I saw her appear, her small frame charging forward with fierce resolve. "Stop! That's my brother! He's here to help me evacuate. Please, he's no spy. Welkin, tell them!" The Americans, Sergeant Elias Knox, a rugged operative with a drawl, his squad equipped with compact fusion cells and concealed laser pistols under their gear, exchanged glances. Knox stepped up, slinging his R91. "Ease up, miss. Girl vouches for him as kin. No imperial markings, no gear. If she's family, cut him loose. We've got real threats mossing out there, imperial scouting the roads." Alicia hesitated, her rifle lowering slightly as she assessed the situation. "Fine, but stay where we can see you. Evac's priority, move along," she signaled, and the cuffs came off. Relief washed over Welkin as he rubbed his wrists, hugging Isara. "Thanks, sis. Let's get you packed and out of here." But peace shattered in an instant. Screams echoed from the eastern road, a column of refugees, wagons laden with belongings, ambushed by Imperial scouts. A squad of 10 Imperials in gray greatcoats, rifles barking, cut down stragglers with ruthless efficiency. "For the Empire! Secure the path!" The town watch and Americans reacted like lightning. "Contact! Imps inbound!" Knox roared, his squad dropping to prone, our 91s cracking in disciplined bursts, 5.56mm rounds punching through enemy cover with precision. Welkin, still a civilian, grabbed a nearby tool as makeshift defense, but stayed low as Alicia's watch flanked, lobbing grenades that bloomed in fiery bursts, shredding the scouts' positions. An Imperial sergeant rallied his men. "Push forward! Take the town!" But Knox's team, augmented by holographic sights on their rifles, picked them off one by one, controlled fire felling the attackers. Alicia nailed a scout with her rifle, the shot exploding on impact. "Hold the line!" Within minutes, the scouts lay dead, smoke curling from craters. Alicia wiped sweat from her brow. "Good work. But this is just the vanguard, more coming. Back to Brull, oversee the evac." The group rushed into town, where chaos reigned. Town watch barricaded streets with sandbags and overturned carts, civilians streaming toward evacuation points. Welkin, still unarmed and civilian, linked up with Alicia again as she directed traffic. "Welkin? Help check the streets, ensure no one's left behind. Isara, stick close." Isara nodded. "I'll grab some things from home, tools and blueprints. Be right back." She darted off toward the Gunther residence. Welkin and Alicia patrolled the winding alleys, ushering stragglers to safety. "Hurry, Imperials are closing!" Alicia urged a family, her voice steady despite the fear, her town watch role keeping her focused. As they reached the town square, disaster struck. A high-pitched whistle pierced the air, an Imperial mortar shell slamming into the mill, exploding in a shower of stone and wood. Shrapnel whizzed, wounding a watch member. More shells rained down, buildings shuddering as the assault began. Imperial infantry poured from the woods, rifles blazing, supported by a light tank grinding forward on treads. "Defend the square! Buy time for evac!" Alicia bellowed, directing her watch. Americans in Town Watch opened fire, R91s and Galleon rifles barking, dropping waves of attackers. Knox's squad set up a portable turret drone, its minigun whirring to life and hosing the advance with suppressive fire. "Pour it on, team! Hold them back!" Welkin ducked behind a barricade, helping direct civilians. "Isara, she's still at home!" he shouted over the din, heart pounding. "I have to get my sister!" Alicia grabbed his arm. "Welkin, it's too dangerous. Wait for a lull." But he bolted, dodging bullets as he sprinted toward the outskirts. "Isara!" Moments after he vanished, the ground trembled, an Imperial medium tank rumbling into view, its 75mm cannon swiveling. "Panzer support! Crush them!" the commander yelled from the turret. Shells hammered barricades, splintering wood and forcing retreats. Americans lobbed plasma grenades, the green blast scorching treads but not halting the beast. "Fall back! Regroup at the gate!" Knox ordered, his men laying suppressive fire with laser pistols as watch members dragged wounded away. The defenders retreated street by street, the tank advancing inexorably, its machine guns chattering death. Civilians screamed, funneling through the western gate in a desperate exodus. "Keep moving! Don't stop!" Alicia urged, firing over her shoulder. Then, a roar split the chaos. The Edelweiss, the Galleon prototype tank crafted by Isara's late father, burst from a side street. Welkin manned the turret, Isara at the controls, her face set in grim determination. "Hang on, brother, we've got this!" The Edelweiss's 88mm cannon boomed, the shell punching through the Imperial tank's frontal armor in a catastrophic explosion. Flames erupted, the turret flying off as secondary detonations ripped the hull apart. Imperial infantry faltered, momentum shattered. "Our panzer, destroyed! Fall back, regroup!" Seizing the moment, Alicia signaled. "Now, evacuate! Leave the town to M. We live to fight another day." Under covering fire from the Americans, the last civilians and defenders streamed out the western gate, wagons and trucks rumbling away as Bruhl burned behind them. Imperials, regrouping for a second push, claimed the smoldering ruins unopposed. In the distance, Welkin and Isara and the Edelweiss covered the retreat, engines growling like guardians of a fallen home. Gallia's invasion had begun, Bruhl the first casualty, but defiance kindled in the hearts of its survivors. End of Chapter 22. Chapter 23, Veins of Deceit. April 5, 1935 Europan Calendar. Gallian High Command Headquarters, Rangriz. Principality of Gallia. Europa Continent. The war room beneath Rangriz's fortified palace thrummed with the low hum of Ragnite generators and the scratch of pencils on maps, a cavernous chamber lined with tactical holoscreens, courtesy of recent American aid, casting ethereal blue glows across marble walls etched with Gallian crests. Crystal chandeliers dangled overhead, their azure light flickering like uneasy stars. The air carried the faint, acrid tang of incense and stale coffee, a veneer of grandeur masking the desperation of a nation invaded. General Bertrand Damon, commander of the Gallian Regular Army, occupied the head of the obsidian conference table like a peacock in eclipse. At 58, his once impeccable uniform hung loose on a frame softened by years of desk-bound glory hunting, his thinning gray hair slicked back with feudal precision, monocle perched precariously on a florid face etched with jowls and perpetual scowl. Arrogant to his core, Damon had risen through nepotism and cunning rather than merit, his reputation a fragile edifice built on scapegoats and scandals. The recent debacle at Ghirlandaio, where his forces crumbled under imperial assault, still burned in his mind, though he'd spun it as a heroic stand marred by Enemy atrocities. Opposite him sat General Russell Ward, dispatched personally by President Cordelia Angela Turinghouse at the urging of DIA Intercepts, painting Damon's incompetence in stark relief. Ward, broad-shouldered and steely-eyed at 45, exuded the quiet authority of a lifetime soldier, his crisp U.S. Army fatigues adorned with subtle rank insignias, a Pip-Boy humming on his wrist synced to orbital feeds. His salt-and-pepper hair was cropped military short, face weathered by campaigns from pre-displacement Earth Ops to the Alaskan Massacre. "General Damon," Ward began, voice steady and measured, extending a gloved hand across the table. "President House sends her regards. With Gallia's front heating up, she's authorized me to coordinate joint operations, integrate our assets with your regulars for maximum effect." Damon's monocle flashed as he ignored the hand, lips curling in a disdainful sneer. He leaned back, fingers steepled like a judge pronouncing sentence. "Coordinate? How quaint, General Ward. Or should I say, oversee? Your president's generosity is noted, but I command the Gallian army, the finest on Europa, if not for imperial treachery at Ghirlandaio." His voice dripped venom, eyes darting suspiciously, convinced this American interloper was here to usurp his throne. Void-born upstart, he thought, parading miracles while I hold the realm together. He'll not steal my laurels. Ward withdrew his hand unflinchingly, seating himself. "No oversight intended, General. Partnership. Our F-44s can own the skies, vertibirds for rapid insertion, power armor to plug your lines. Ghirlandaio was a setback, Imperials hit hard, but with our logistics, we resupply without Ragnite dependency. Share your op plans, I'll align our strikes." Damon's jowls quivered, insecurity bubbling beneath bluster. He knew the whispers, rout at Ghirlandaio, where his hesitation let panzers overrun flanks, forcing a panicked retreat. "Plans? My strategies are Gallian secrets, not toys for your parlor tricks. Televisions and robots win expositions, not wars. We've bled for neutrality. You arrive post-sprawl, claiming savior status." He jabbed a finger, voice rising. "Mark me, I led the repulsion at the border. Your aid is welcome, so long as it follows my lead. Dismissed." Ward rose smoothly, jaw set. "Understood. Expect my liaison teams tomorrow, Squad 7 integration first." He saluted crisply and exited, the doors sealing behind him with a hydraulic hiss. In the antechamber, a young DIA operative, clad in unobtrusive civilian attire, her Pip-Boy concealed, slipped him a slim dossier stamped, "Eyes only, Ghirlandaio Truth. From Director Hale, sir. Verified intercepts." Alone in the corridor, Ward flipped it open under a dim Ragnite lamp. Pages detailed the horror, Damon's order to use toxic gas, unleashed on Imperial lines to cover his blunder, choking thousands in agonizing fog, including darksome laborers and stray civilians. Official reports? Blamed on Imperial war crimes, with planted evidence. Casualties spun as enemy self-inflicted. Ward closed it, eyes hardening. This guy's capable of anything to preserve his reputation, gassing his own side's shadows and pinning it on the foe. He pocketed the file. Won't play this card now. Better hold it for when I need to sideline him. Take command of this front and Gallian forces if push comes. Back in his secure quarters, Ward activated his holodable, pulling the latest brawl after-action report. Feeds confirmed, amid the exodus, naturalist Welkin Gunther commandeered the Edelweiss prototype, rescuing his sister Isara and linking with Town Watch scout Alicia Melchiot. The trio, now formalized as Militia Squad 7 under Welkin's unorthodox leadership, had evaded capture, tank intact, rallying stragglers. Early promise, tactical flair, Edelweiss outperforming regulars. Ward nodded approvingly. Raw talent. He keyed his comms. Ward to Pacific Command. Dispatch Marine Recon Team, 12 operators, power armor light, embed with Gallian Militia Squad 7. Welkin Gunther's outfit. Augment, don't supplant, guide M to cloudburst. We're turning the tide. The line crackled affirmatively. Across the channel, Operation Cloudburst loomed. End of Chapter 23. Chapter 24, Bridges of Valor. April 10, 1935 Europan calendar. Vasil outskirts, Principality of Gallia. Europa continent. The ancient city of Vasil sprawled along the banks of the mighty Vasil River, its cobblestone streets and arched bridges a testament to Gallia's enduring heritage. Towering windmills dotted the skyline, their sails idle under a leaden sky heavy with the promise of rain. The Great Vasil Bridge, a monumental drawbridge linking the city's halves, loomed as the strategic linchpin. If held by the Imperials, it opened a direct path to Rangriz, Gallia's heart. Operation Cloudburst aimed to reclaim it, Squad 7 spearheading the assault amid urban labyrinths of alleys and ruins, focusing on securing the western bank under Imperial control before a daring river crossing. At the militia staging area, a fortified warehouse on the western outskirts, Captain Eleanor Varat, a stern woman in her mid-30s with sharp features framed by short auburn hair, stood before her new recruits. Her uniform crisp, eyes steely from years commanding in the shadows of war, she appraised Welkin Gunther, Alicia Melchiot, and Isara Gunther with a nod. Lieutenant Gunther, Sergeant Melchiot, Private Gunther, welcome to Squad 7. Your actions at Brull were commendable. The Edelweiss is a fine asset, use it wisely. Welkin saluted awkwardly, his naturalist curiosity peeking through. Thank you, Captain. We'll do our best to push back the imps. Alicia, ever dutiful, added, honored to serve, ma'am. Isara beamed quietly, adjusting her mechanic's toolkit. The tank's ready for action. As Varat dismissed them to integrate, Welkin spotted a familiar face across the yard, Faldio Lanzat, his university friend, now leading Squad 1. Tall and charismatic with tousled blonde hair and a confident grin, Faldio strode over, clapping Welkin on the back. Welkin! Heard about Brull, impressive. Leading a squad already? The army's desperate, eh? Welkin chuckled. Desperate times. Good to see you, Faldio. What's the plan for Vasil? Before Faldio could reply, raised voices drew their attention. Near the supply crates, Bridget, Rosie Stark, a fiery shock trooper in her mid-20s, with short red hair, piercing blue eyes, and a perpetual scowl, loomed over Isara, her prejudice boiling over. Rosie, scarred by a childhood tragedy where Darksons allegedly razed her village, spat venom. A Darkson in Squad 7? You'll jinx us all, your kind's bad luck, always scheming in the shadows. Largo Potter, the burly lancer beside her, 38, massive frame, with a grizzled beard and kind eyes hidden under a gruff exterior, crossed his arms, his vegetable-loving heart not sharing the bias but his loyalty to Rosie making him grumble. Rosie's got a point, kid. War's no place for, well, you know. Stick to wrenching, leave the fighting to pros. Isara flinched, her braided hair swaying as she stood her ground, voice steady but hurt. I'm here to fight like anyone, my skills'll prove it. Welkin stepped in, his calm demeanor masking firm resolve. Enough. Isara's my sister and a damn fine mechanic. Judge her by actions, not blood. If you can't handle that, maybe you're the liability. Rosie sneered, ready to retort, but Largo held up a hand, mediating gruffly. Easy, Rosie. Kid's got spunk, let's see if she backs it up. At that moment, a low hum echoed from the treeline, U.S. Marine Recon Team emerging, 12 operators in T-51B power armor, led by Captain William Carter. Carter, a veteran in his 40s with a scarred jaw and piercing gaze, had served under General Ward for years, respecting the man's tactical genius. From afar, they'd observed the exchange, Carter murmuring to his second. That Lieutenant, Gunther? Handles the heat like a pro. Unpolished, but give him battles, and he'll shine like Ward someday. Kid's got the makings of a legend. The Marines approached, their T-51 power armors, pinnacle of American engineering, with advanced composite plating over exoskeleton frame, powered by compact fusion cores for near-limitless endurance, offering unmatched protection against ballistic and energy threats while enhancing strength and mobility, drawing gasps. Isara's eyes widened in awe, staring at the suit's seamless alloy exteriors and glowing visors. Incredible! Those armors, fusion-powered, impervious to tank fire? They could change everything. Varat nodded. Integrated ops, good. Imperials hold the bridge and east bank, urban push first, then cross. The battle ignited at dawn, Imperials entrenched in Basil's western ruins, snipers in bell towers, machine guns in barricaded streets. Squad 7 advanced block by block, Welkin directing from the Edelweiss, Isara at the helm. Rosie charged with shock trooper fury, machine gun blazing, Largo lance tanks with anti-armor precision, bellowing vegetable metaphors. Hit 'em like a ripe pumpkin, squash flat. Marines led the vanguard, power armors shrugging off minigun fire slicing through Imperial squads, plasma grenades vaporizing nests. Clear the alley, push! Carter barked, his suit's servos whirring as he vaulted debris. They fought for the western bank, urban chaos, street-to-street skirmishes, Imperials countering with mortar barrages and panzer reinforcements. A light tank rumbled into view. Largo pierced its turret, but heavies followed. Marines' miniguns chattered, shredding infantry. One suit tanked a shell, countering with missiles that bloomed in fire. With the western bank secured, Welkin scanned the river from a vantage, spotting shallows marked by missilaried growth. Cloudburst pivot, no direct bridge assault, too fortified. We crossed the shallows under fog. Edelweiss fords first, Marines wait in armor, your suits can handle the depth. Rest in boats. Hit the east bank from the rear, overwhelm, then control the drawbridge. Carter grinned behind his visor. Bold, echoes Ward's precision strikes. Execute. As morning fog rolled in thick like a shroud, the Edelweiss plunged into the shallows, deep fording gear sealing it watertight as Isara navigated the riverbed. Marines followed, power armors striding through the current like mechanical colossi, fusion cores humming undisturbed. The squad trailed in reinforced boats, oars muffled. Surfacing on the east bank undetected, they struck like thunder, Edelweiss cannon booming, Marines' miniguns carving paths, Squad 7 mopping up patrols. Imperials reeled, bases falling in rapid succession. Isara jammed radios, delaying reinforcements with deceptive calls. Storming the bridge control room amid chaos, Welkin ordered, Isara, raise it now! As Imperial troops flooded the span mid-crossing, motors whirred, the drawbridge lifting with a groan. Soldiers plummeted into the churning river below, screams lost in the fog, the advance shattered. Vasil held, Randgriz gateway sealed, for now. In the aftermath, as fog lifted over the bloodied waters, Isara approached a marine, awe undimmed. Those armors, revolutionary. Walking through rivers like that, fusion stability under pressure? The operator nodded. American grit keeps us unstoppable. Welkin, overhearing, smiled. Squad 7 had proven itself, alliances forged in the crucible of Vasil. End of Chapter 24. Chapter 25, Shadows of the Wildwood. April 15, 1935 Europan calendar. Cloden Wildwood, Principality of Gallia. Europa continent. The Cloden Wildwood stretched like a verdant labyrinth across central Gallia, its ancient trees towering in dense canopies that filtered sunlight into dappled patterns on the forest floor. Moss-covered boulders and winding animal trails crisscrossed the underbrush, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and wildflowers. Hidden within this natural fortress lay the Imperial Army's primary supply depot, a sprawling complex of warehouses stocked with Ragnite munitions, fuel, and rations, guarded by patrols and armored units. Capturing it would cripple General Roddy Yeager's advance, starving his mechanized forces and buying Gallia precious time. At the forward command post, a camouflage tent nestled in a clearing, General Russell Ward oversaw the operation personally, his tactical holodeck projecting real-time drone feeds of the forest. Flanked by Captain Eleanor Varat and his marine liaisons, Ward addressed Squad 7. The depot's our target. Hit it hard, minimize what Jaeger can salvage. Marines embed with you, use their edge wisely. Welkin Gunther, now lieutenant of Squad 7, nodded thoughtfully. Understood, General. The forest's alive with paths, nature's blueprint for ambush. As the squad advanced through the thickets, morale dipped under the oppressive canopy. Alicia Melchiot scanned ahead warily. This place is a maze, easy to get lost. Rosie Stark grumbled, rifle slung. Yeah, and with that Darkson tagging along, we're asking for trouble. Largo Potter chuckled gruffly. Lighten up, Rosie. Kids fixed the Edelweiss twice already, give her credit. Isara, undeterred, focused on the tank's controls. Welkin paused, spotting faint tracks. Animal trails, deer paths skirting patrols. We flank from here, avoid the main road. Captain William Carter, leading the Marines in their T-51 power armors, signaled approval. Smart play. Suits handle the brush. We'll punch through sentries. The assault unfolded with precision. Squad 7's infantry, Rosie charging with shock trooper grit, Largo lancing hidden at guns, cleared outer perimeters. The Edelweiss rumbled forward, Isara navigating the uneven terrain flawlessly. Marines strode like giants, armors shrugging off ambushes, lasers carving through Imperial scouts. Flank secured, push! Voss barked. Mid-advance, a squeal pierced the silence. A lost Porcavian piglet, orphaned beside its fallen mother, victim of stray artillery. Welkin knelt cradling it. Poor thing, war spares no one. Every galleon fights. Welcome to Squad 7, Hans. Alicia smiled softly. A mascot? Only you, Welkin. The depot loomed, warehouses ringed by barbed wire, panzers idling. Welkin's plan struck like lightning, using trails to encircle, Marines drawing fire while Squad 7 infiltrated from the shadows. Explosions rocked the site as plasma grenades ignited fuel dumps, forcing Jaeger's reinforcements to scramble. The Lupus tank, Jaeger's personal behemoth, thundered in, covering a hasty retreat, but the assault's ferocity left only scraps salvageable. Jaeger, from his turret, cursed under his breath. Damn galleons! And those void machines! Evacuate what you can! Fall back! The base fell, flames consuming the bulk of supplies. Ward, observing from a ridge via drone, nodded approvingly at Welkin's maneuvers. Gunther's got the eye, not just for nature, but command. Reads the field like a book, rallies his squad without bark. Talent like that wins wars. In the aftermath, amid smoldering ruins, Carter approached Ward informally, helmets off, sharing a ration bar like old comrades. That Gunther kid reminds me of you back in the day, Russ. Fresh-faced, spotting angles no one else sees. Remember those early ops? You turned a swamp into a kill zone. Ward chuckled, eyes distant. Yeah, William, feels like yesterday. Kid's got the spark. Carter leaned in. So, stick with him? Keep the team embedded? Ward glanced at the horizon, expression hardening. Absolutely. Watch him close, nurture that potential. But Damon, that man's a loose cannon. He'll complicate the next push more than you know. Stay sharp. The Wildwood victory echoed through Gallia, Jaeger's momentum stalled, but darker battles loomed. End of Chapter 25. Chapter 26. Sands of Incompetence. April 20th, 1935 Europan calendar. Barius Desert, Principality of Gallia. Europa continent. The Barius Desert shimmered under a merciless sun, its vast dunes rolling like frozen waves across the horizon, broken only by jagged rock formations and the skeletal remains of ancient ruins. Scorching winds whipped sand into stinging veils, the air thick with the metallic tang of Rang-night exhaust from distant Imperial convoys. Intercepted radio chatter crackled through the Gallian command tent on the desert's edge, General Roddy Jaeger's forces mounting a desperate counterattack to reclaim lost momentum, their panzers grinding toward a key oasis supply hub that could reopen supply lines to the front. General Russell Ward, poring over holographic maps in the sweltering tent, turned to General Bertrand Damon as aides relayed the intel. Jaegers pushing hard, armored columns aiming to punch through our lines. This op's critical. Squad 7 leads the intercept with militia support, my Rangers and T-51 units bolstering flanks, regulars holding the rear. Let my teams handle the coordination. Your involvement could complicate chains of command. Damon's monocle glinted as he puffed out his chest, face reddening not just from the heat. Complicate? This is my front, Ward. Galleon soil, Galleon blood. I'll lead personally, ensure our valor shines. Your void toys are aides, not commanders. Ward suppressed a sigh, knowing the DIA dossier's weight in his pocket. General, with respect, this involves U.S. Army elements. One misstep risks escalation. Damon waved dismissively. Nonsense. I command here. End of discussion. Ward relented, jaw tight, as plans finalized. The battle erupted at dawn, Jaeger's Lupus tank spearheading a blitz across the sands, panzers kicking up dust storms as they charged. Squad 7 advanced from rocky cover, the Edelweiss rumbling forward with Isaura at the controls, Welkin directing precise strikes. Flank the lead column, use the dunes for cover. U.S. Rangers, elite scouts in advanced fatigues, fanned out, our 91 rifles barking control bursts. T-51 power armor strode like titans, shrugging off Ragnite shells, their lasers slicing through Imperial infantry. Push the line, secure the ridge, a Marine barked. But Damon's incompetence unraveled the assault like frayed rope. From his rear command vehicle, he barked contradictory orders over comms. Charge the center, overwhelm them, ignoring Ward's flanking strategy. Galleon regulars surged prematurely into open sands, exposed to panzer fire. Shells cratered the dunes, bodies crumpling in sprays of blood and sand. American units, caught in the chaos, suffered heavily. A T-51 squad advanced too far on Damon's erratic push, isolated amid a counter-barrage. Fall back! Regroup! Their sergeant yelled, but Ragnite explosives hammered them. 2 suits fell, operators wounded inside. In a final act, they overloaded their fusion cores, brilliant flashes vaporizing the power sources, denying the tech to the enemy. Rangers dragged survivors away, but Imperials swarmed the wrecks, capturing the intact armor's minus cores, plus a discarded AR-9 laser rifle and an R-91 assault rifle. Prizes hauled back amid cheers. Casualties mounted, U.S. soldiers cut down in futile advances, Galleon militias shredded. Ward, monitoring from a forward post, seethed. Damon's turning this into a slaughter, good men dying for his ego. Intervening decisively, Ward overrode channels. All units, disregard prior orders. Flank per original plan, Squad 7, loop south, Marines, pin the center. Rangers, suppress from high ground. His voice cut through the din like steel. The tide turned, Edelweiss flanked Jaeger's column, cannon booming to cripple panzers. Power armors held the line, lasers forcing retreats. Jaeger's Lupus withdrew under smoke, momentum shattered once more. Victory came, but at grievous cost, dunes littered with Allied dead. In the aftermath, as medics tended the wounded under a blazing sun, Damon strutted into the command tent, monocle polished, ready to claim glory. A triumph! My bold charge broke their spirit. Gallia prevails. Ward burst in, face thunderous, the weight of lost comrades fueling his fury. He slammed the dossier on the table, then swung, a solid punch connecting with Damon's jaw, sending the monocle flying. Damon staggered, sputtering. You dare assault a superior? Superior? You're a disgrace! Ward roared, voice raw with grief. Your idiocy killed dozens, my men, galleons thrown away like chaff. And Ghirlandaio? DI intercepts confirm. You gassed your own lines with yellow fog, blamed the Imperials. War crimes, Damon, poisoning allies to cover your blunders. That's not incompetence, it's treasonous negligence. You're relieved, arrested on charges of crimes against humanity and dereliction leading to enemy capture of tech. Because of your incompetence and stupidity, you gave them our advantage. If they reverse engineer those armors, both fronts could be lost, you idiot. Guards, US and Galleon, entered on Ward's signal, cuffing the blustering Damon. This is outrage. I'll have your head. You dug your grave, Ward growled, turning away as Damon was dragged out. Later, in the palace at Randgriz, Prime Minister Moritz von Borg confronted Ward in the opulent chamber, his portly frame quivering with indignation. General Ward, this overreach is intolerable. Damon is a Galleon hero. Your unilateral arrest smacks of occupation. Ward met Borg's gaze steadily, tone diplomatic but firm. Prime Minister, with respect, Damon's actions at Ghirlandaio were war crimes, unauthorized gas deployment, falsified reports. His incompetence today costs lives and tech. Princess Cordelia concurs, as does President House. For Gallia's survival, and our alliance, I'm assuming command. It's not about control, it's about victory. Accept it, and we save your nation together. Borg deflated, realizing Damon's follies left no defense. Very well, for Gallia. The sands had shifted, Ward at the helm, but the Empire's shadows lengthened still. End of Chapter 26. Chapter 27, Spoils of the Void. April 25, 1935 Europan calendar. Ghirlandaio Fortress, Principality of Gallia, under Imperial occupation. Europa continent. The ancient ramparts of Ghirlandaio Fortress loomed like a scarred sentinel atop the cliffs, its stone walls etched with centuries of siege scars, now repurposed as Prince Maximilian's forward headquarters during the Gallian invasion. Towering spires pierced the overcast sky, red night lamps casting a cold azure glow through narrow windows into the war room, a cavernous hall lined with maps of conquered territories and banners of the imperial two-head eagle. The air hummed with the distant clamor of forges below, where darksome laborers toiled under guard, but here, in the inner sanctum, the elite Dre Stern convened amid the echoes of strategy and ambition. Prince Maximilian stood at the head of a massive obsidian table, scanning the spoils arrayed before him. Flanked by Salveria Bless, General Roddy Yeager, and General Bertold Gregor, he gestured to the captured American artifacts from the Battle of Barrios, 2 intact T-51B power armors, their alloy plating scarred but unbroken, fusion core compartments deliberately sabotaged in explosive overloads, an AR-9 laser rifle, its sleek barrel humming faintly with residual charge, and an R-91 assault rifle, rugged and utilitarian. Gregor lifted the AR-9 first, hefting its lightweight frame with a skeptical grunt. This contraption looks more toy than weapon. Hard to fathom it cleaves men in two with bolts of harness lightning. He posed it dismissively, sighting down the barrel before setting it aside with a clatter. Turning to the R-91, Gregor's expression softened into measured approval. He chambered around, empty, for safety, and admired its balance. Now this, a proper instrument. Automatic assault with the reach of a semi-auto sniper and the fire rate of a submachine gun. Kinetic force, reliable, brutal. I can respect that. Yeager nodded, crossing his arms. During the Barrios clash, I targeted one of those armors with Lupus's main gun, direct hit. The shell glanced off like rain on steel, confirming the Federal Front reports. These void-born suits turn men into walking fortresses. Gregor circled the T-51BS, tracing the seamless plating with gloved fingers. Impervious, we've read the dispatches, shells bouncing harmlessly, lasers carving through our lines. A revolution in armor, if we crack it. Maximilian's lips curled in a predatory smile. Precisely. Send it all to the Imperial Analysis Corps in Schwarzgrad, reverse engineer every bolt, every circuit. Their miracles will fuel our conquest. Gregor paused, his voice steady but edged with calculated divergence. Your Highness, if I may, one suit to the Corps, yes. But the other, dispatch it to Fusen. Incorporated into the armored train's arsenal, it could bolster our mobile defenses immeasurably. A practical testbed under my oversight. Maximilian's eyes narrowed, reluctance flickering, but he acceded with a curt nod. Very well, 1 to the rest to analysis. But results shared promptly, General. Silveria approached AT-51B, her fingers brushing the visor as she scanned accompanying reports. Tales of unyielding stands, lives sacrificed to deny the cause. A shadow crossed her features. Maximilian's ambition blinded him to the cost. Foolish, he'll throw more lives against these horrors, chasing shadows of power. As the meeting adjourned, Maximilian turned to Silveria. Prepare the convoy, we depart for Barrias at once. The ancient temple there holds oracular secrets, a relic from the great calamity, buried somewhere in Gallia. An ancestral weapon to tip the scales. Silveria bowed. As you command, Your Highness. The fortress gates groaned open, their armored transport rumbling into the twilight, bound for the desert wastes of Barrias, and the whispers of forgotten might. End of Chapter 27. Chapter 28. Echoes of the Ancients. May 1st, 1935 Europan calendar. Barrias Desert, Principality of Gallia. Europa continent. The Barrias Desert sprawled under a relentless midday sun, its endless dunes shimmering like molten gold, broken only by the jagged silhouettes of ancient ruins half buried in the sands. Winds howled through eroded stone arches, carrying whispers of forgotten eras, while the air hung heavy with the dry heat and faint ozone tang of distant Ragnite engines. Gallian scouts had reported unusual imperial activity, a high-value convoy under heavy guard converging on a remote temple complex, rumored to house relics from the Great Calamity, an apocalyptic event shrouded in myth, predating even the Valkyria legends. At the forward rally point, a camouflaged outpost amid rocky outcrops, General Russell Ward coordinated the intercept, his holographic Pip-Boy projecting drone feeds of the temple, a monolithic structure of weathered sandstone, its entrance flanked by colossal statues of hooded figures, their features eroded by time. Squad 7 assembled alongside Faldio Lanzot's Squad 1, the young archaeologist turned lieutenant's eyes alight with scholarly curiosity. Ward addressed the group, his voice cutting through the wind. Intel confirms Prince Maximilian's presence at the temple, likely scavenging for artifacts to boost their war machine. We investigate, secure any relics, and neutralize threats. Squad 7 leads the entry, Squad 1 provides perimeter security with my Marines. Move quiet, Imperials could still be inside. Welkin Gunther nodded, adjusting his spectacles as he studied the map. Understood, General. The desert's unforgiving, but these ruins might hold paths for cover. Faldio, his uniform dusted with sand, added eagerly. If it's Calamity era, we're talking prehistory, secrets that could rewrite everything. The team advanced across the dunes, the Edelweiss tank rumbling in support under Isara's steady hand, while T-51 power armors strode alongside, their fusion hums muffled by the wind. Reaching the temple's shadowed entrance, Ward selected a small infiltration group, Alicia Melchiot, Faldio, Welkin, Captain William Carter, and himself. The rest hold the perimeter, eyes sharp for Imperial reinforcements. Inside, the temple's antechamber enveloped them in cool darkness, walls adorned with faded murals depicting cataclysmic fires and colossal figures wielding ethereal flames. Dust motes danced in shafts of light filtering through cracks, the air stale with millennia of silence. Ward scanned the space, his tactical mind assessing. Faldio, this looks ancestral. How long has this been here? Faldio ran a hand over a glyph-etched stone, his voice reverent. Probably thousands of years, General, tied to the Great Calamity, an event so ancient even our histories treat it as myth. Legends speak of a world-ending war, civilizations reduced to ash by weapons beyond comprehension. No one knows what truly lies within these sites, they're sealed, forbidden. But if Maximilian's here, he's after something powerful, perhaps a relic to turn the tide. Alicia approached a massive stone door at the chamber's end, its surface inscribed with swirling patterns resembling flames. As her fingers neared, the door groaned open unbidden, seams glowing faintly blue before parting to reveal a vast interior. Gasps echoed, Welkin's eyes widened in awe, Carter's hand instinctively reaching for his sidearm. It opened on its own? Alicia whispered, stepping back. Ward nodded grimly. No time to question, let's investigate deeper. They descended into the heart, an enormous circular staircase spiraling downward around a central pillar, the Oracle, a towering monolith pulsing with subtle, otherworldly energy, its surface etched with indecipherable runes. Echoes of their footsteps reverberated as they delved deeper, the air growing cooler, charged with an electric hum. At the nadir, in a cavernous chamber lit by ethereal blue veins in the walls, they found Prince Maximilian, flanked by Salveria Bless, her azure hair framing a stoic face, and a cadre of elite guards. The prince turned, his expression a mask of calm arrogance, as if expecting visitors. Intruders in the sanctum. Galleons and their void allies. You've come far, but this place yields its secrets to the worthy. Welkin raised his rifle. Prince Maximilian, surrender now. Whatever you're seeking here ends today. Faldio's eyes darted to the Oracle, piecing together fragments. It's a repository, a calamity archive. Salveria stepped forward protectively, her Valkyria lance igniting with ragnite glow. You will not lay hands on His Highness. Ward signaled restraint. Stand down, we take him alive. But Maximilian raised a hand, his voice resonant. This ground is sacred, ancient beyond our petty wars. No blood shall profane it. Our differences, we settle outside. Reluctantly, the group acquiesced, escorting Maximilian and Salveria upward under guard, emerging into the blinding desert light. Outside, the perimeter teams tensed. Imperial reinforcements had arrived, drawn by the disturbance. Maximilian retreated to a fortified vantage atop a distant dune, observing from afar as his forces engaged. At the fore loomed the Batamies, a colossal supertank, its massive hull armored like a fortress on treads, bristling with heavy cannons and secondary batteries, ragnite engines roaring like a beast awakened. Engage! Ward barked over comms. Squad 7 and Squad 1 fanned out, the Edelweiss trading fire with Imperial escorts, while Marines and T-51 armors charged forward, lasers flashing. Carter led a flanking maneuver, power suits shrugging off barrages. Suppress the flanks, draw its fire! The Batamies thundered, main cannon booming shells that cratered the sands, forcing evasive dodges. Alicia sniped gunners from cover, Welkin directing precision strikes. Aim for the treads, slow it down! But the behemoth pressed on, its armor deflecting our 91 rounds and even laser fire. Ward, assessing from a ridge, signaled his heavy weapons team, U.S. soldiers shouldering M42 Fat Man launchers, tactical nuclear catapults designed for anti-armor devastation, firing mini-nukes with yields equivalent to conventional explosives but amplified for miniaturized nuclear warfare. Fat Man teams, target the Batamies. Fire for effect! Triggers pulled, subcharges ignited, the mini-nukes arced skyward in lazy parabolas, detonating on impact with apocalyptic fury. Mushroom clouds bloomed amid the Imperial line, shockwaves flattening dunes and vaporizing escorts. The Batamies shuddered under direct hits, hull buckling in incandescent blasts, armor melting, treads fusing, secondary explosions ripping through ragnite stores and chain reactions that lit the desert like a false dawn. Salveria, shielding Maximilian from afar, watched in horror as the explosions mirrored ancient legends, blue infernos devouring all, akin to the final flame, a Valkyria's ultimate sacrifice, overloading ragnite to unleash divine devastation. Yet she felt nothing, no surge of sacred energy, no echo of Valkyria essence, no sacrificial resonance. Just cold, mechanical annihilation, devoid of ragnite's warmth. It's the flame, but twisted. No soul, no honor, just void-born horror. With the Batamies reduced to smoldering slag, its wreckage a testament to American overmatch, Salveria barked orders. Protect the prince at all costs. Retreat, fall back to occupied lines. Imperial forces disengaged, covering Maximilian's withdrawal and a disciplined rout, vanishing into the dunes under smoke screens. As the dust settled, Squad 7, the Marines, and Ward regrouped amid the ruins, the temple's secrets untouched but tantalizing. Welkin stared at the Oracle's entrance. What was he after in there? And that door, it opened for Alicia. Faldio shook his head. More questions than answers, calamity relics, Valkyria echoes. This war's unearthing things best left buried. Ward clapped Welkin on the shoulder. Good work today, Lieutenant. But the prince slipped away. Next time, we end it. They trekked back to Rangriz under the fading sun, the desert's whispers following like unresolved ghosts. End of Chapter 28. Chapter 29, Veins of Innovation. May 5, 1935 Europan Calendar. Imperial Analysis Corps, Schwarzgrad, capital of the East Europan Imperial Alliance. Europa continent. The bowels of the Imperial Analysis Corps hummed with the ceaseless thrum of Ragnite generators, a labyrinthine facility buried deep beneath Schwarzgrad's towering spires. Reinforced concrete walls, etched with imperial eagles and schematics of war machines, enclosed vast testing chambers where engineers in crisp lab coats dissected the spoils of conquest. Azure Ragnite lamps cast an ethereal glow over workbenches laden with tools and prototypes, the air thick with the scent of ozone and heated metal. This was the Empire's forge of ingenuity, where captured technologies were unraveled to fuel the Valkyrie awakening. Prince Maximilian strode through the secured corridors, his greatcoat swirling like a shadow, flanked by General Bertolt Gregor, the only other Dre Stern member present, his stern features set in anticipation, and a detachment of elite guards. Maximilian had left the Gallian front under Salveria's capable command, drawn back to the capital by urgent summons. The captured American artifacts from the First Battle of Barrias had arrived intact, with 3 of the 4 items routed here for scrutiny. The fourth, AT-51B power armor, had been diverted to Fozen at Gregor's insistence, ostensibly for analysis and integration into his personal armored train, though Maximilian suspected Gregor's ambitions leaned toward personal use. These void-born wonders, Maximilian mused aloud, his voice echoing off the walls, may yet redeem our setbacks. Show me what we've secured here. In the primary testing chamber, a cavernous hall with observation balconies and armored dummies arrayed for trials, Director Heinrich Belgar awaited. A nobleman in his 50s, Belgar cut a pragmatic figure, tall and lean, with sharp features framed by neatly combed gray hair, piercing blue eyes behind wire-rimmed spectacles, and a lab coat over an impeccably tailored uniform adorned with the Imperial Science Board's insignia. As head of the board and supervisor of the secretive Lab X0, Belgar was a political manipulator par excellence, his fascination with forbidden technologies bordering on obsession. He bowed deeply. Your Highness, General Gregor, the prizes routed to the Corps, 1 T-51B power armor, an AER-9 laser rifle, and an R-91 assault rifle. The second armor, as per your orders, was dispatched to Fozen for General Gregor's specialized integration. Gregor nodded curtly, his eyes lingering on the artifacts with possessive interest. It will serve well aboard my train, dissected for insights, then deployed as needed. The items gleamed under spotlights. The AR-9, a sleek energy weapon with a modular barrel. The R-91, a rugged kinetic rifle chambered for 5.56mm rounds. And the single T-51B suit, a towering exoskeleton of advanced alloys, its visor dark and inscrutable. Engineers bustled around the armor, connecting it via thick cables to a massive Ragnite generator humming in the corner, a jury-rigged setup to compensate for the sabotaged fusion core. Belgar gestured to the weapons first. Observe the AR-9, Void Sorcery Incarnate. An engineer aimed at an armored dummy 50 meters distant, triggering a crimson beam that lanced forth with a high-pitched whine. The target vaporized in a flash, metal melting like wax. Gasps rippled through the observers. Gregor nodded approvingly. Lightning harnessed, devastating at range. Next, the R-91, Loaded with scavenged ammunition, it barked in controlled bursts, shredding a reinforced plate with precision and firepower surpassing Imperial rifles. Automatic yet accurate, Belgar noted. We'll dissect it for replication, improve our infantry arsenal. But the true marvel was the T-51B. With the Ragnite generator online, an Imperial test pilot, clad in the suit, activated it. Servos whirred to life, the exoskeleton enhancing his strength tenfold. He lifted a 500-kilogram weight effortlessly, then endured a barrage from an Imperial heavy gun. Shells ricocheted harmlessly, the alloy unmarred. The chamber fell silent, awe-etching every face. Belgar's eyes gleamed with fascination, tracing the seamless joints. Incredible engineering, lightweight yet impervious. Servos amplify movement, integrated systems for life support. This isn't armor, it's a second skin, a mechanical apotheosis. One engineer, a bespectacled subordinate named Dr. Elias Petrovich, not Belgar, stepped forward tentatively. Director, Your Highness, imagine merging this with our artificial Valkyria program. The cyborg enhancements, Ragnite energy conduits, particle cannons, energy shields, integrated into this frame. A soldier-wielding Valkyria might without the bloodline's rarity. Murmurs of excitement spread. Belgar nodded thoughtfully, his pragmatic mind calculating alliances and resources. The artificial Valkyria system, a secret Imperial project masterminded by Clementia Forster, augmented humans into cyborg conduits for massive Ragnite energy, replicating true Valkyria offensive abilities via arm-mounted cannons and shields. Powered by external generators or backpacks, it turned select candidates into tank-busting juggernauts, though at immense physical strain. A hybrid, yes. Dissect the T-51B fully, dismantle, analyze, blueprint every component. Belgar turned to Maximilian. Your Highness, once complete, I request a copy of the blueprints for Lab X0. My projects there, classified advancements in Ragnite augmentation, could accelerate integration. We'll forge something unparalleled. Maximilian's eyes narrowed in contemplation, then he smiled, a rare, predatory gleam. Granted, Director. Proceed. As test concluded, Maximilian lingered, staring at the humming suit. We've struck the jackpot, the grand prize. With such armor, our legions become invincible. Belgar cleared his throat diplomatically. Indeed, Your Highness, but a caveat: the power source. The Americans overloaded their fusion cores during capture, irretrievable. We've jury-rigged this suit to our largest Ragnite generator for these limited tests, but it's cumbersome, immobile in the field. Thorne added. Replication eludes us for now. Fusion, an alien alchemy, sustaining endless energy without Ragnite's volatility. We'll reverse engineer the frame, but powering it demands innovation, a compact Ragnite source potent enough for the standard model, and an enhanced version fused with artificial Valkyria tech. We shall call it Ode in Armor, a nod to ancient gods of war. Maximilian absorbed this, his ambition undimmed. How long? Months, perhaps longer, Belgar replied. But we'll succeed. X0's resources are at your command. As Maximilian departed, a revelation settled. Despite the hurdles, this capture was a windfall, a void-born boon to eclipse the Americans' miracles. The Empire had won the grand prize, the seeds of supremacy, waiting to bloom. End of Chapter 29. Chapter 30, Shadows of Acquisition. May 10, 1935 Europan Calendar. Boston, Massachusetts, East Central Commonwealth. United States of America. The bustling streets of Boston thrummed with post-transfer normality, neon signs flickering over Robco outlets and pawn shops peddling gadgets to curious Europan civilians. Imperial spies, embedded as innocuous Europan refugees via forged papers from the Atlantic Federation's porous borders, moved like ghosts through the crowds. Agent Heinrich Eisenberg, a wiry operative with a false mustache and nondescript trench coat, led the cell, 3 men trained in sabotage and espionage, their accents masked by months of immersion: Otto Schmidt, Fritz Wagner, and Klaus Reinhardt. Their target: blueprints for advanced American robotics, scavenged from public sales and black market dealings where outdated models were dumped. Eisenberg's intel, gleaned from intercepted radio chatter and bribed clerks, pointed to a Turing Computers Limited warehouse on the outskirts, a relic facility storing archived designs from the company's owners Alana Turing House and his husband Robert House. Protectron schematics from Robco, basic security bots, but their automation is light years ahead, Eisenberg whispered to his team in a dingy motel room. And the Atkins, humanoid combat frame, British design licensed through BIA, brainchild of Alana Turing herself. We grabbed digital copies, floppy disks, printouts, whatever's unsecured. Under cover of night they struck. Posing as maintenance crew with stolen uniforms, they bypassed the chain-link fence with wire cutters acquired from a hardware store. Inside the dimly lit warehouse, shelves groaned under crates of obsolete tech, Pip-Boy prototypes, laser pistol parts, and file cabinets brimming with blueprints. Eisenberg cracked a safe using a jury-rigged lockpick set fashioned from local tools, his gloved hands pulling out folders labeled Protectron MK4 and Atkins Combat Automaton BIA license. The Protectron plans detailed a bipedal robot for security and labor, with modular arms and basic AI, signed at the bottom by Robert Edwin House, CEO of Robco Industries. The Atkins schematics depicted a sleek humanoid frame, armed with integrated weapons and agile servos and the ability to use conventional weapons like humans do, developed by Alana Turing, the brilliant engineer and late wife of House, mother to President Cordelia Angela Turing House. Jackpot, Eisenberg muttered, photographing pages with a compact camera smuggled from Europa and copying data to blank holotapes purchased from a tech surplus store. Alarms blared suddenly, a trip sensor. Move! Eisenberg barked. They bolted, blueprints stuffed into satchels, dodging security bots that whirred to life. Gunfire echoed as a night guard fired warning shots, but the spies piled into a stolen sedan. A Corvega model gassed up from a local station and screeched into the night. Pursuit followed, police cruisers with sirens wailing, but Eisenberg's driver weaved through alleys, losing them in the harbor district. At the docks, under a moonlit pier, an Imperial submarine, dispatched weeks prior via covert routes across the Atlantis, surfaced like a leviathan. The spies boarded via inflatable raft, the vessel submerging with a hiss, charting a perilous course eastward through uncharted waters, evading American patrols with Ragnite-jammed sonar. Days later, it beached near the Crystal Sea coast of the Imperial Alliance, the plans handed off to couriers who rushed them to Schwarzgrad via armored train. May 15, 1935 Europan calendar. Imperial Analysis Corps, Schwarzgrad, capital of the East Europan Imperial Alliance. Europa continent. In the fortified depths of the Analysis Corps, Prince Maximilian received the contraband alongside General Bertolt Greger and Director Heinrich Belgar. The chamber's ragnite hum mixed with the rustle of unrolled blueprints spread across the obsidian table. Our agents exceeded expectations, Maximilian declared, his eyes scanning the diagrams. These will accelerate our efforts against the Voidborn. Greger, ever pragmatic, traced the Atkins frame. Humanoid combatant, agile, armed. Integrate with our panzers, perhaps. Belgar, spectacles perched on his nose, pored over the details with growing fascination. Remarkable, the Protectron, autonomous sentinel, basic cognition via circuits we can mimic with Ragnite relays. Signed by Robert Edwin House, Robco's founder. He flipped to the Atkins plans. And this, Atkins Automaton, humanoid warfare platform. Developed by Alana Turing, licensed through BIA? Wait, our spy reports from the exposition and intercepts. Turing was House's wife, mother to their president, Cordelia Angela Turing House. A familial dynasty of geniuses. This connects directly to their leadership, vulnerabilities, perhaps. Maximilian leaned in. Exploit that. But first, replication. Belgar nodded, his mind whirring with mechanical ingenuity, and Ragnite amplification. We'll adapt gear-driven limbs for the Protectron, steam Ragnite hybrids for actuators. The Atkins agility, challenging, but our forges can cast similar frames. Lab X0 will lead. We'll prototype within months, bolstering our legions with tireless machines. As blueprints were copied and dispatched, the trio envisioned Imperial factories churning out robotic reinforcements, a tide to overwhelm Gallia and the Federation. The Void's secrets, now theirs, promised a shifted balance. End of Chapter 30.